Dear viewers, welcome to the second part of the video from the Technical Museum in Sinsheim. We will look at the military exhibition which we decided to deal with separately. Our cameraman was on his home turf here. We could not get him out. At the end we had to remove him like a tick and drag him out. But we did not anticipate that there is an outdoor exhibition of military machinery as well. From there we could not get him at all. Well, things are not simple for me. The indoor exhibition is focused on the Second World War. Behind the entrance there is this mountain gun from 1936 made by Rheinmetall with a 75 mm caliber. Here we have two Harley-Davidson motorcycles. This one is from 1940 with 0.75 liters and 25 horsepower. The other one is from 1929 with 1 liter and 24 horsepower. Now we can see a half-track tow vehicle Demag from 1939. It is equipped with a 6-cylinder engine Maybach with 4.5 liters and 100 horsepower. The top speed was 65 km per hour. Next to it there is the tow half-track motorbike from 1940. It has a 4-cylinder engine with 1.5 liters and 36 horsepower. The top speed was 70 km per hour. This is a self-propelled assault gun Sturmgeschütz 3 from 1940. It is armored with a 75 mm caliber gun. His main task was the support of infantry. Flak 105 mm caliber from 1944 was a heavy anti-aircraft gun. The biggest one from the displayed shells is the 406 mm caliber. Here is the famous tank destroyer Jagdpanther from the last years of the war. It has an 88 mm gun, armor up to 80 mm, engine with 700 horsepower. And Panzerkampfwagen 3, a middleweight tank from 1941. It had a 12-cylinder Maybach engine with 300 horsepower. Another middleweight tank, Panzerkampfwagen 4, again with the Maybach. Now we can take a look at the Panther from 1942. It has a 12-cylinder Maybach with 700 horsepower, gun with a 75 mm caliber. The thickness of armor is up to 120 mm. Here is another one. It was destroyed by its own crew in order to prevent capture by the enemy. This is a light tank destroyer Hetzer, in English agitator or rebel-rouser, from 1944. It has a 6-cylinder engine with 7.7 liters and 160 horsepower. The chassis is from the Czechoslovak light tank model 1938, and on it there is a hull with the anti-tank gun 75 mm caliber. Here is another one. And now we are looking at the original LT-38, thus the light tank model 38. It was made by Praga from 1937 to 1942. It has 125 horsepower. It had been developed from the middle of the 30s in Czechoslovakia, and after the start of the occupation of Czechia, it was integrated in the German forces. It was one of the best light tanks, but for tank battles it became quickly obsolete. We are looking at an anti-aircraft tank, which was called Möbelwagen, in English the removal van, from 1944. The reason for the nickname was the height of the vehicle, 3.42 meters. Next to it there is a searchlight for night bomber detection. Its mirror has a diameter of 150 centimeters. Now we will look at the howitzers. The name comes from the Czech Hasselite gun with a large caliber for shooting into crowds. In different corruption of the word, it became a part of other languages. In German Haubitze, in English howitzer. First, the self-propelled howitzer from 1942. It has a 12-cylinder with 300 horsepower and 105 mm barrel. Then there is the howitzer Hummel, in English Bumblebee, from 1942. It has the 150 mm caliber, and it was the last heavy self-propelled gun the Germans developed during the war. Hitler did not like the name, and therefore it was prohibited by an order in 1944. Here it is non-self-propelled. The famous T-34, a groundbreaking Soviet tank with inclined armor and wide tracks. They have the American Sherman M4 with the 75 mm gun here as well. It was the most important tank of the Allies in the West. Here is another American tank. It is the reconnaissance tank Walker Bulldog from 1950. We are looking at the tracked vehicle made by Renault from 1938, and now at the British carrier Bren from 1940. This is the iconic Kübelwagen, in English bucket car. This German light all-terrain car has 4 cylinders, 1.1 liter and 25 horsepower. It was designed by Ferdinand Porsche. Here is the amphibious version, Schwimmwagen, from 1942. Another one. There is the American Jeep Willys from 1944 as well. It has a 4-cylinder with 2.2 liters and 54 horsepower. Around 750,000 of them were built. Well, this is a swine. In all probability, a manifestation of the German humor. A wild boar on a stretcher. Another Willys, another swine. There are lots of other vehicles, other machinery, uniforms, etc., but we will skip it. Before we go out, we will have a look at the aircrafts. This is the Focke-Wulf FW-190 from 1940. There is the dive bomber Junkers Ju-88 from 1937. It was propelled by 2 12-cylinder engines. Next to it, we can see the Junkers Ju-52 from 1935. At the wall, there is the Heinkel HE-111 from 1935. It became the standard bomber of the Luftwaffe. Of course, the Messerschmitt Bf-109 must not be absent. This one is from 1942. It was developed by the Bayerische Flugzeugwerke, Bavarian Aircraft Works, therefore BF, under the direction of Willy Messerschmitt. Helicopter Kamov Ka-26 from 1966. We are in the outdoor exhibition area now, which is sometimes called Panzergarten. This is the legendary Soviet tank T-34 with an 85 mm gun. Behind it there is the Soviet self-propelled gun Su-100. Now we are looking at the armored personnel carrier BTR-60. One can find a replica of the self-propelled howitzer Wespe, in English Wasp, here as well. Behind it there is the large gun M40 made by Škoda with the firing range of 30 kilometers. This is the Tank 61 of the Swiss Army with the 105 mm gun. Next to it, the American self-propelled howitzer M7B2 with the 105 mm caliber stands. Moving on, they have the armored vehicle of the German Federal Border Guards here. Behind it, there is the armored personnel carrier HS-30 from 1958. And next to it, the heavy gun caliber 210 mm made by Škoda with the firing range of 34 kilometers. The standard armored personnel carrier of the Bundeswehr, Marder, in English Martin, stands next to the American light tank M3 Stuart from the time of the Second World War. The famous British tank Centurion, which was developed at the end of the Second World War with the 105 mm gun, is here too. This is the Soviet tank T-55 with the 100 mm gun, T-72 with the 125 mm gun. Now we will have a look at the German Leoparden. This is the prototype 2 Leopard 1 from 1960, and this is the Leopard 1 A3 from 1965 with the 105 mm gun. Within the armored machinery there is the Soviet medium transport helicopter Mi-8. This is the American heavy gun with the 155 mm caliber and a firing range of 16.7 kilometers. And this is the French ship gun with the 100 mm caliber. In closing, we can have a look at rockets. This is the American military ballistic missile Pershing 1A from the time of the Cold War. They have two American anti-aircraft missiles, a Hawk, from the beginning of the 60s here as well. And this is a big gun in the wide jumper. Thank you for watching and see you next time.